I'm Scott Tessa. I'm the Sustainability and Resilience Officer for the City of Urbana. With Geothermal Urbana-Champaign, we make it faster, easier, and cheaper to get geothermal heating and cooling for your home or business. So geothermal uses the stored energy in the ground as a source and sink for heating and cooling of your home without burning any fossil fuels. One of the interesting things that's to note about the history of geothermal is farmers, rural installations, and school district installations have kind of been the history. Bigger buildings, lots of land. What we're doing here in Urbana is trying to bring this technology into a little bit tighter spaces, a little bit more challenging installations in town. So more conventionally sized single-family residence properties and businesses, for instance. You know, this is the future for geothermal. Most of the installations that are possible are in town. People really love geothermal heating and cooling for their home. It's a really even heating. It's not kick on, kick off. It's actually variable speed, so it's always just keeping a comfortable temperature in the house at all times. There's no giant box outside kicking on and kicking off. The wells are underground. Once they're installed, there's nothing to see there. There's a box in your basement. That's the geothermal heat exchanger. And it's a gray box in your basement just like a furnace, but instead of burning fossil fuels for heating, it's just using the stored energy in the ground as a source and sink for heat. With our program, Geothermal Urbana-Champaign, we make getting geothermal easier by going out and getting the 3 quotes, selecting and vetting a geothermal installer, and then working with that installer to create a program with declining block pricing so that the more people sign up for a geothermal installation within our program period, the cheaper the price is for everybody. And the process really begins with a geothermal power hour. This is a 1-hour educational event. Everything you need to know about how to be a savvy purchaser of a geothermal system, how they work, the costs, the rebates available. So folks leave our power hour knowing everything they need to go out and get a geothermal installation, a quote, and evaluate that and make a good decision for their household or for their business. So a geothermal installation usually starts with drilling 2, 3, 4, 5 wells, just like water well drilling. Drill wells in the yard, and then those get trenched in and connected to a geothermal exchanger, a heat exchanger, just a gray box in the basement. And that's that loop where we're utilizing the stored energy in the ground as a source and sink for heating and cooling of the house. So that drilling, you know, that disrupts the landscaping you've got for the time of the drilling. It gets restored. A year later, there's nothing to see. You can't tell that there's anything's ever happened. The geothermal exchanger, that gray box in your basement, it has the same lifespan as any manufactured product, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, whatever the manufacturer might spec, just like an air conditioner or a furnace, probably more similar to a furnace in terms of its lifespan. The wells underground are essentially forever. They're plastic pipe, and it's essentially forever. You know, there's nothing moving. There's a liquid moving through them, but you know the ground isn't moving. As long as someone doesn't accidentally trench through it, you know, the run that connects to the house, they're essentially forever. There's a little bit of electricity that it draws to operate the fan, just like a fan blowing, you know, air through your ductwork, to operate the fan and to operate the pump that pumps the water in and out of the ground, where it's dumping heat in the summer into the ground and pulling heat from the ground to heat your house in the winter. So there's a little bit of electricity to operate that fan and the pump. Other than that, it's all free energy stored in the ground. Geothermal, as compared to conventional heating and cooling, has a payback period. You know, it's saving you money on your utility bills every year, and that initial upfront cost that's going to get paid back to you on your utility bill savings. And so eventually the system pays for itself, and then you just got free energy, free heating and cooling. What's great about geothermal heating and cooling is that it's essentially pollution-free. It's renewable energy. It's utilizing the stored heat in the ground to heat and cool your house through a heat exchanger. It takes fossil fuel combustion out of the house completely and eliminates it. Right now, most people in Urbana have a natural gas furnace. They're burning a fossil fuel in their basement to heat their house. And while there is a stack for catching the exhaust and exhausting it out of the house, there's still a little bit of exhaust that escapes, and that's an indoor air pollutant. An even bigger indoor air pollutant is actually a natural gas cooktop. It's probably, there's some studies, it's probably the single largest source of indoor air contamination in a modern home. We've gotten rid of a lot of other toxics in the home. That's the big one remaining. So with geothermal, we're able to actually cut all the natural gas usage out of the house completely, leaving cleaner air in the house for everybody to breathe. And so that means cleaner, greener neighborhood. It means less pollution that is going into children's lungs. And so that's the transition we're trying to make in Urbana and globally, is moving from these old, dirty fossil fuels towards the new, clean, renewable energy sources. What's really neat about our two sister programs, first Solar Urbana-Champaign and now Geothermal Urbana-Champaign, is that when you combine them together, you're really decarbonizing the whole household or the whole business. So the Geo provides all the heating and cooling, but then if you've got some solar on the roof, now you're powering the balance of power of the geothermal system with the solar. Everything is renewable energy, and that's a really neat setup. You own the assets, you own these power plants, so to speak, and so prices don't fluctuate because you own them. It's not just Urbana, it's not just Urbana-Champaign, but Champaign, Piatt, and Vermilion counties are our market area. And so anybody, home or business in that area, is eligible to use our bulk declining block pricing program. So we're in our second year of our bulk purchase program. Our first year we had 15 contracts signed, so a bunch of new geothermal households in Urbana. We're looking to double that this year. We're on track for it. And it's really taken off like wildfire. Like neighbors see that a neighbor is getting it, and they go ahead and they talk to them and they learn about it, and they see all the benefits. And so we see, like mushrooms growing, one geothermal is next to another geothermal installation. People can go to our website, geothermaluc.org, learn about our program, sign up for updates. We're always scheduling geothermal power hours so they can find a power hour that fits their schedule to attend, and that's where they'll learn everything about geothermal and about our bulk purchasing program that makes it faster, easier, and cheaper to get geothermal heating and cooling for the home or business.